Hello. Hi. Hello. How you doing today, Raz? A bit better than you, I think. A little bit better than you. Nervous, to say the least. I'm not going to lie. It's the first time I've done any kind of actual performance in any kind of way. Not that it's a performance, because I'm just being myself, which is probably even more nerve wracking. So, yeah. 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 No, it's nerves are a good thing, I think. It means that you still have a lot of anticipation for what you want to be able to achieve. So, and you want to do the best you can. So, nerves are a good thing, healthy. Hello, Shay. I've just been running errands today, to be honest. I don't have an overly exciting life at the moment. So I've just been running that backwards and forwards, but it's been exceptionally hot by British standards. So yeah, it's been a fun day of running around in the blazing sunshine, but it is what it is. But I achieved some stuff, so I can't complain. But I'm at the end of my day, and I know that you're just at the beginning of yours. I mean, that is definitely what I'm going to be doing after I get off this podcast because you're keeping me up past my bedtime, like 10, 11 o'clock. Woo-hoo! I'm an old lady these days. That's late for me. Oh my God. Yeah. Without breaking a sweat. Like I actually actively worked towards that as my goal for the weekend was, get as much weekend out of my weekend as possible, but nowadays I just think about how much sleep I can get out of any given day. It shows how far I've come in the last few years. Yeah. I think that being able to fall asleep anywhere is an absolute skill. I think a lot of people underestimate what a skill it is to be able to fall asleep in a very busy place in the middle of the daytime with lots of noise going around you. Like, that's a skill. It's a talent, and I think it's CV worthy personally. But that's my opinion. But I'm sure there are many employers out there that would disagree with that. Yeah. Hello. Okay. So yeah, I am Morgan. I've got I'm a mum of one, otherwise an orphan from about 19. Which so I've been rolling on my own for quite some time. I'm now with my partner, who I've been with for 7 years. So I'm not so much on my own anymore, but I did a lot of it on my own in my younger years. I went to university and studied all sorts of things that I never pursued in the way of television and media, and then ended up falling into music, which had always been sort of my background hobby. Um, in my early 20s, it really was. I just fell into it. And every opportunity that I've had off the back of that, I've fallen into just from being in the right place at the right time and willing to throw myself into the opportunities that were there, which I've gotten worse at over time. And then I spent the last 5 years in a band that we've unfortunately just split up from. COVID kind of put a nail in the coffin that was already teetering, which is sad and almost ironic now that I had a band called Cuba Libre, and the people of Cuba are currently protesting for freedom in the streets. I'm like, this would be a really great time to write a song. Um, and and now we don't have the band, but I'm probably still going to write something. Well, I'll try to, because all I do is hate myself in my writing. And now I'm turned into a bit of a neurotic mess over the last few years. So I desperately want to write music. I'm just not very good because I hate myself whenever I write. So as I'm writing, I'm going, that's crap, that's crap, that's crap. And I never actually get it to the point where it's music. So yeah, that's essentially who I am. Boytits. Boytits is a long story. Yeah. The last thing you want is radio silence at this point, Raz. And I bet everyone's going to be surprised that they can't hear you in this as well, because you are usually the one who is leading every conversation. I can hear you absolutely fine. I'm sorry to everyone else that they can't hear you. We'll get there. Like do 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 do. I do like various different types of lift music whilst you're waiting if you want, just to keep people entertained. I don't think they want to hear it though, in all honesty. Are you back in the room? Okay. Yeah. Okay.
All right, let's see if this works. All right, Shay, are you able to hear me now?
Hear me now.
This means that we will probably have to restart from the beginning. Because of course we do. Everything was working at first. I don't know what happened.
This is the thing, is everything was running smoothly. That's not a good sign. We needed to have some kind of hiccup. That's the universe telling us that making sure we're paying attention, Raz.
Oh, I mean, obviously, but the worst part is that it's you know what could be also the problem?
Is it me?
No, no, it could be. It could be. I didn't actually have the RTX voice on. That could that could be the problem.
I mean, like, oh, that's almost like, did you turn it off and on again? Oh my goodness.
Okay, let me check real quick. Oh. All right. Can you hear me? Is this good?
I can hear you.
All right.
Can Shay hear you?
Okay. So can you hear me okay? Is it better? Is it worse?
You sound perfectly clear to me, but you were sounding fine a minute ago. I'm only listening through my phone, unfortunately. So
well,
yes. Shall I say yes?
Well, see. The problem is you hear me fine because we're talking through Discord.
Yeah. It's these international phone calls that are the problem, Raz.
Okay. No, it's my inability to, use my brain, okay? I don't even know why people listen to me.
Pinky in the brain again.
Okay, but am I pinky or brain?
I don't know at this point. I really don't. I would say you're the brain, but fucking I don't know.
Right, the guy with the big ideas, and then everything always falls apart on him, right? So...
And I'm the idiot that's running around going, yeah, this is great.
All right. So back to the.
Now we've reduced ourselves to that. Brilliant.
Oh, I think we're gonna make a great team. What do you think, Jay?
I'm counting on you to be able to see what she's saying because I can't see anything at this point.
Oh yeah, I should probably. I could actually probably share that with you. To
be honest, where I'm sat on my phone and I'm sat away from my computer to get away from noise for you. So
yes, as soon as you actually have your computer and everything set up, then you can actually watch the streams and see the comments.
Yeah, that would be great. Or get a laptop or something. Or just in any way come into the 21st century.
Baby steps, okay? Baby steps.
One step at a time.
Oh my gosh. So either people did not actually join us, which seems very likely, or hear me out on this one. The video link I sent does not work. The video
maybe.
Okay, it does work. Okay, so nobody else actually joined in.
Oh wow.
That's okay. Not a big deal.
It's all right. I'm going to watch it tomorrow. I'll put at least 3 views on it. Like just watching it for a
That's fair. I'll probably end up watching it like 2 or 3 times because I'm going to be like,
yeah.
Okay, so where did we mess up? What do we do better? How do we work on this?
Yeah, it'll be at least one run of me just cringing at the sound of my own voice because it irritates me.
Oh, I get it. No, you don't understand. I get it.
I get it. Yeah.
Oh, I wonder if I did not just fuck that up and there is now a reverberating. I hope there isn't. I hope that's not a.
Things just burning around. It's fine. Don't worry. It's fine.
Oh man. You know, I could send the video to Ash and just open up the laptop like a civilized person.
Yeah, that's one way of going about it.
But that would actually require me to be, intelligent. And wonderful. Be intelligent.
Are you lacking skills in which to pay certain bills?
Here we go. Oh, figure out how.
Do you know what? In this moment, I am just so grateful that you are the one responsible for all the technical side of this. Because personally, I mean, there was a time when I was quite competent with technology, but it evolved past me. And I just stopped learning. So yeah, I'd probably be 100 times more lost than you are right now.
Oh,
you know exactly what you're doing. You're not lost at all. You know exactly what you're doing. It's just
absolutely explosions in the background.
Says the man who turned on the machine to start with.
Yeah. Well, See, you're under the impression that my actual just because I might have some interesting and unique things to say, you have the idea that my wisdom score is high enough.
Yeah, that you can actually like sign the check and all that.
Well, it's like in D&D terms. Do you know so a mad scientist? See the whole thing of the intelligence skill versus the wisdom skill, right? So
Right.
a scientist with a really high intelligence score can build things. He just doesn't have the wisdom of testing them first.
Right. Okay. Yeah.
So, he can build the death ray, but you turn it on and suddenly really horrible things happen that was not planned for.
Yeah, it makes sense. Okay, I get that. Yeah, I get that. That is an accurate description for me in the future. I am logging it mentally.
Oh, I think Shay. But yeah, we will eventually get this all nice on board, and
Yeah, well,
great.
it's teething problems, isn't it? This is what happens. Like, I would be more worried if everything went so smoothly on our first run that because then it was like, wow, the first time we make a mistake, it's going to be huge.
Oh,
if
yeah.
if we get through this smoothly, I expect it to be like baby calf sort of thing. Like it's going to take a few jolts before we get it right.
Oh, I still feel like even when we finally have everything right, it's still going to be a cacophony of mistakes. I mean, that's kind of like our lot in life, is just to stumble through it as best we can.
Yeah.
But that's part of the fun. To me, that's part of fun of life.
Yeah. Oh, like, yeah. What is it? The looking both ways before you cross the street. Being an adult, being an adult is looking both ways before you cross the street and getting hit by an airplane. Like,
exactly. Exactly.
We can set everything up right, but you never know what's coming around the corner. So yeah, just roll with every fumble because generally the mistakes turn out to be the most fun parts.
Also, just real quick, we have King and Happy has joined us.
What up?
Morgan would like to actually see your comments, but she has to use her phone for talking right now. So she will respond tomorrow in the actual comments in the video. Or directly to you since Discord.
I will.
But, so Happy says, mistakes are the spice of life. Give or take a bad one.
Oh, that's poetic.
Well, to me, I've talked about this a little bit. I no longer see mistakes and stuff like that as just mistakes. It's the classic, they're lessons not learned.
Yeah. Tom Edison, it's just 1,000 ways that don't work.
Yep.
It's not getting it wrong. Yeah.
I mean, but I'm pretty sure we're both going to be starting at least trying to make a career out of making a bunch of mistakes.
Yeah. Oh my, that is my career, right? That's what I do as a pastime, mate.
All right, so we know this doesn't work anymore.
What doesn't work? What have I broken now? I love the way that it's like I've got no control over this and things are going wrong and I'm just blaming myself anyway. That speaks fucking volumes. Oh my god, are you still there? Please still be there. Don't leave me alone on this street.
I'm still here. I was just laughing. Oh man, no. Okay, so Happy put another one. I wouldn't say a mistake is a lesson not learned, since you can make a mistake by forgetting a learned lesson. That is a lesson not learned. If you cannot remember the lesson. Oh, Happy's great. Oh, by the way, he's our other co-host who will eventually be doing that.
Yeah, I look forward to it. I did sort of interact with Happy sort of momentarily. in some of my fleeting Discord moments because I'm in and out a lot of the time. Whee! But yeah, I did have a brief interaction with him, so I'm looking forward to it. Look forward to having Ash with us as well because she always adds an entertaining dynamic at your end. Usually physical assault, like she's usually the one that acts as my fist.
Yeah,
and I go hit him for me, and she goes bang and punches you in the arm.
Yo, you shouldn't be encouraging that.
I know I shouldn't be encouraging that. That's definitely wrong of me. I shouldn't. But I am a terrible person, as you introduced me. So.
That's okay. That's okay. I probably deserve it for something.
Now, aren't we? Sorry. Okay.
That's okay. I probably deserve it for something at some point that I have not paid for yet.
Yeah, there you go. See, it's karma. It's karma. You might not have even committed the crime yet, but it's coming for you, mate.
So I have a question. Yeah. Should I make comments that I know she'll watch later, so she'll hit me then for? I've always thought about this, right?
I love that you're asking me this. Like, dude, that's your gauntlet to set up for yourself. Like, I don't want to get involved in it. I try and stay as passive as possible, but sometimes I can't help myself. Like, you know.
Oh yeah.
Sometimes I like stirring it up between you and adding a little spice into the relationship for you because that's the sort of friend I am.
Giving a few details on me for any new So like I know the live streams will have people that we know, but for any new listeners coming in, I'm Raz. Father of 3, have this wonderful girlfriend named Ash who will be also coming on here. I have my best friend Happy, who's also, my dog. That'll get explained in the future. Out of context sounds horrible. But he really is my best friend. Like, one of the most loyal people I have ever known.
I love the way you say he's my dog, and then you're like, it doesn't sound right, and I was ready to give you a whole DMX.
Oh yeah, but we're actually like saying like dog, like he's that best pal, like the dog, like it's a really weird thing. Yes, it's a really weird dichotomy that they set up, him and Ash last year. So why am I explaining this now? I wanted him on here because it'll be funnier. Yeah. Oh, whatever gets me hit more often. Thanks, Happy. Thanks, Happy.
He gets it.
That's fine. That's fine. I mean, obviously, she always resorts to violence because she's blighted of the mind.
Now.
She's with me. Something's wrong in that head. Just saying.
I know she's a little firecracker. She's just a little flame pent up in a tiny person. Like it has to exude in certain directions. It's just that you're the one that's right there. So,
well, I also encourage it. We're talking. Yeah, about somebody...
you do provoke it.
Well, you're talking about somebody who never used to express any of these things. So getting her to express it and everything like that, has been a big deal. Like the fact that she can have a good time, laugh, make fun of me making fun of her, and that stuff is fantastic. Like,
yeah.
I always talk about that. Like, Ash has changed a lot over the last year and a half since I met her. In December, it'll be 2 years since we met.
Oh wow, it's coming around quick. It does go around so quick, though, doesn't it?
Oh yeah. Well, the funniest part is like this is me. Me and her got together relatively quickly. It's kind of weird how I had never met somebody who, well, outside of very very few people, Happy, a couple. There's a couple people I've met that I have instant chemistry with, but Ash was on a whole different level.
Yeah. Well, you can say, I mean, like, it's obviously she's not here to demonstrate it, but as and when she is present, like, it's quite clearly visible between
later,
the two
King.
of you.
Yeah, later, King. King's leaving. So
Liz, buddy. Excuse
Um,
me, sorry.
but yeah, so like I said, I'm Raz. This is my podcast. This is what's the best way to explain the podcast? Half of it's messing around and joking and talking life stuff. The other part is, talking, well, life stuff like encouragement and ways of coping with life and everything like this. This is going to be a
Yeah.
very strange podcast. I can tell you that now.
It's an amalgamation. It's a life reflection podcast. I would say is probably the best bet, and maybe a slightly dysfunctional life reflection because it's more of our lives and we're fairly dysfunctional people. I wouldn't say like I would say that I don't know, maybe we're not, maybe we just perceive ourselves to be that way, and maybe that's sort of the shit that we're gonna start exploring. And I'm sorry, I am gonna start swearing now because I'm comfortable that we're past like the 5 minute marks.
Oh, we are way past it. We passed it 25, like 20 minutes ago.
Fantastic. Oh, see, we're rolling. But yeah, I think, a little bit of introspection, self-reflection, sort of like personal growth, whilst at the same time being able to laugh at ourselves and the world around us and everything that's going on is an amalgamation, maybe a good synopsis for it. But I don't know what short tags you'd put on it, to be honest, Raz.
Oh, yeah. I don't know. Being a mess is kind of a requirement, I think, for our specific little things.
Yeah, maybe.
Oh, hold on.
I don't know what you're talking about. I am a completely stable human being.
Happy has a couple of comments to add because, again, of course, almost a year since life decided Raz should try to dance in thin ice, and he rolled a 4. I'm sorry, it was a nat 1. Okay? Like, let's not even be, like, nice about this. You don't slip on the ice and spike it straight down and break your foot in 2 locations.
Oh, you know better than me. Right.
That one and you'd be dead. That one does not always mean death. It just means something very horrible happens. Life just gave me some lucky rolls furthering it, okay? Also, he says I wouldn't call myself dysfunctional, but I would say I stub my toe in life dresser more often than I should. Oh. No, if I wouldn't even necessarily call us dysfunctional at this point. Being a mess doesn't mean you're necessarily dysfunctional. It just means...
No, I think... Yeah, I was going to say, I don't know that dysfunctional is necessarily the right word for it. It just was the first one that came to mind. But yeah, outside the box of normal, maybe.
Well, now but see, now you have to define normal.
Yeah, and that's just a tricky... That's just muddy water to get into, isn't it?
I mean, if there's one thing that I will say that is like probably the normal is a lot of people don't like playing in the mud. If there is one thing of being a mess is I like being in the dirt and the grime and stuff like that and being a little chaotic, but trying to work it, Let's turn this mud farm into a rice paddy or something. I don't know,
Yeah.
Hey, the point is that a lot of people, they do want stability. They want some control, like they want control or simplicity or what have you. And I'm like, life doesn't work that way, guys.
Yeah.
Like the more you try to control it, I've noticed this a lot. The more people try to control it, the angrier people seem. You ever notice that?
Yeah. Yeah.
Because if anything goes outside of your
control.
Box, yeah.
And people, the more you want control, the less you're prepared to change anything to, it's a whole dynamic. But I was going to say, whilst you're on this subject, like, I suppose it would be a good time to ask you the question. Like, you started talking about your background and everything that sort of led you up to where you were coming from. What was it that inspired you to actually get out and do a podcast? Because, you know, even I'm along for the ride. This is your sort of baby. So what was it that got you to this point? What inspired you, Raz?
Okay. So even with how much we have talked outside of the podcast, this gets a little complicated. A big part of it is my past is wrought with, like, bad decisions, a lot of really shitty things. I wasn't a good person. At one point, I wasn't even a person. I couldn't even function. Like, I was basically an automaton functioning as a human being. I ate sometimes. I played Warframe like it was my job, not because I enjoyed it, because it was something to do.
Yeah.
And you know, I've been married. I got divorced, and at the point I got divorced, basically, I had a relook at my life, made a bunch of different decisions. You know, I took everything in my life onto myself, the good, the bad, and I took control. If the only thing that I could take control of was my choices in life, that was it. You know,
yeah.
You know, you do the best to kind of wiggle and finagle life otherwise. But pretty much it was, but no matter what bad decision, like, no matter what life threw at me, I started taking responsibility of what my actions and choices were in those things. I started getting better. I started living by my ideals, you know, re-looking at philosophy, just really working at it. And then I started talking to other people, you know, presenting these ideas. And, you know, while I was on my journey of recovering from what I was, very self-hatred oriented, I ended up helping a lot of people, including the girl, you know, Ash, my girlfriend. And I started inspiring people to want to do better, make changes in their lives. You know, not necessarily to make their lives happier or anything like that. It's just for them to learn to cope better and make better choices for their situations. You know, anyone who tells you that they have, one of my favorite quotes actually comes from The Princess Bride. Life is suffering, princess. Anyone who tells you different is selling you something.
Yeah. And no truer words have been said.
But it's true. Anyone who tells you they have the secret to life or happiness or any of this stuff, they're most likely bullshitting you.
Yeah.
Even if you live the life of, like, the happy and everything like that, chances are, and this is just my opinion, you're not actually happy. You're living in you're living in a fiction in your head to escape the realities of the world.
Yeah.
And that's sad. I kind of like this chaotic world.
Yeah, and I mean, you know, as we've discussed, I'm a firm believer, and, you know, with great highs come great lows. Like, you know, and vice versa. Like, you know, you have to go through the worst of times to really appreciate the best of times. And I think so many people have just become so content with just plodding along. And yeah, it's not a good place to be. It's not where success thrives, like, you know. And everyone wants to be successful in something, regardless of whether it's their home life, you know, whether they've got sort of goals and achievements that they want to get to. You have to sort of break out of your comfort zone to be able to do anything new. I mean, let's face it, like, I you know, in my regards to coming on this podcast, like, I can't think of anyone more ill qualified to talk about this sort of stuff with you or with any kind of audience. But at the end of the day, when you give me an opportunity, and I'm just like, well, why not? Why shouldn't I do it? Why shouldn't I? Because, you know, I enjoy talking shit predominantly.
Well,
And I'm keen to, pursuit of happiness is what it's all about. Like, it was for me. Yeah, funnily enough, like a really stupid meme that I saw a couple of years ago that really changed mentality for me. And I think mentality is the most crucial thing if you
oh,
actually want to
absolutely.
enjoy your life. Is making sure that you're constantly mentally bettering yourself, not necessarily in an intellectual way, but in like you say, in a self-reflective way. Um, but it was a little meme where it's just a little stick man stood there with a jar that says happiness on it, and then another little stick man sat next to him saying, "Where did you find that? I've been looking for it everywhere." And he just says, "I made it for myself." And that's it. That's the whole meme. And it was, for me, that was profound. It was life changing because I was like, yeah, I've been sort of like waiting for somebody to come and bestow this magical happiness upon me. Um, but I've not been actually doing anything in myself to achieve that. And
Yeah.
that was when I first started sort of like trying to realizing that I was in a place where I was like, this isn't who I am or what I want to be doing or where I want to be in my life and what am I doing wrong and why do I need to change it. That was like, about 3 years ago, and it's been a long road since then. And life, as Happy said that he keeps stubbing his toe on the dresser of life, like I've been saying for years that life has got me on a booty call dial. No, it just rings me up like, what you up to?
Right.
Out of the
Right.
blue, and I'm like, no, not right now. So I'm coming round,
Oh, me.
sort of thing. And that's been my sort of running joke for it because it just, no matter what you do, it just keeps coming at you, doesn't it? It's like the treadmill that doesn't turn off. Like you can stumble and fall down, but the moment you fall down, your face is just going to grate along the bottom of it because it doesn't stop going. You just got to get yourself back up and get back at it.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
that is, and that's the mentality I've always had of just sort of age. I think is one of the worst things that can happen to you.
Right. Real quick. Hey, Happy. Thanks for coming in the way you could. He's dropping out because he's going to a coma. He says he's going to try really hard to be here for the next one though. So it
All
might be
right, see
three
you
of
later.
us next time.
I
So
look forward to speaking to him in person. Well, I say in person, internationally in person.
actually, you guys are way closer to each other. He's just in Portugal.
Is he? Oh,
Yeah.
he's on European time.
Yeah. He's just
No wonder he's tired. He's on the same time scale as me. I'm tired.
I'll have him explain more what he's doing because I have no idea right now what he's doing. We had well, like I said, I took a break for a little bit from the internet, other than talking to you and a couple people for a little while, and I haven't talked to him in a week.
Right. Okay.
So but anyways, it's better if he talks about what he's doing. But yeah, anyways, go to bed, Happy. Bye. Leave. Go.
See you later, Happy.
Later. But But yeah, going back to what you said, for me, I've always I've always believed that we live in a world of controlled chaos. You know,
Yeah.
um, that there is like a balance between that control, and again, that's the whole thing of shaping something versus, trying to control it. You kind of finagle, or you can't stop the stream, but you can get it to go slightly a different direction, kind of stuff.
Yes.
And you still have to flow with it. You still have to work with it. And
Yeah.
eventually you'll shape something. The more, it's just that time, that hard work, that effort. And accepting when setbacks come. To me, I'm the world's I'm the universe's cosmic joke. um and again, going back into the again, I work on so many different dichotomies of, one of the biggest things we're going to be talking about a few different things that we're going to have to do full podcast on.
Yeah.
But for me is temperance, right? The balance of all things. So I live in a world of a lot of what you would consider hypocrisies, even though they actually aren't mutually exclusive from each other. It's like being, you were talking earlier about like bettering yourself mentally. It does not necessarily require intellectually. It could require, but learning how to be emotionally mature, how to handle emotions better, how to do things like that to gain self mastery. But learning to think and making choices, those two things could come together. You shouldn't let one rule the other, you know?
No.
Um, because if you let your emotions run wild and everything like that, like, I think the things that one of the things that I really hate is that your emotions are never wrong, or like the way you feel and stuff like that. I'm like, and to me, I'm like, no, my emotions are wrong all the fucking time.
Oh, my emotions get me into so much trouble.
My gut is usually right, but my feelings are not.
Like I was just so wish every time I had an emotion, I had a taco, and then I'd be full of tacos instead of emotions. Like, honestly, I swear to God, I just ruled by them. So this is like the biggest part of my journey, is being able to take a step back from all the feelings. I just have so many feelings, like so many of them. I mean, like, part of that is down to my biology. I completely understand that, and part of it is down to the fact that I'm a complete wet blanket, as we would say in the UK. And I'm sure that I don't really need to explain it. I'm sure it explains itself.
Right.
Yeah, so that is my number one problem. So maybe you can, you can try and shout it out of me and talk it out of me over time, and maybe I might learn from you, because I haven't learned from myself in all these years. So I need to take a step back from them every now and again.
Like I said, I can tell you how I did it, because like I said, I may have been gifted with a slight level of intelligence. Like I think that's also part of the joke, is I'm smart enough to recognize these things.
Yeah.
And I still make dumb choices.
Yeah.
Um.
Oh yeah, that's the entire, that's like my entire diagnosis right there. Like, I know I'm being stupid, but
Oh man. But
oh dear.
the big part of it is, at least for me, is that the only answer to it is like, again, I know we wanted to talk a little bit about self-reflection and stuff like that, but I think getting into this topic goes in self-reflection is basically the majority of like everything comes from there.
Yeah.
Growth, everything is an internalized, very personal thing but when you're going out of whack, this is what I do. Taking a step back is super important, but it's also just whenever I have a feeling or I'm bursting emotionally, I try to think about why I'm actually like that. Like instead of making a rash fucking decision, as we most let the times do, I actually stop myself and go, okay, I'm angry or I'm sad or I'm this. Why is it? And I try to get my logic and my to go, because I actually think feelings aren't always right. This is the thing. It's just figuring out why you feel a certain way.
Yeah.
This is why emotional maturity and having that mixture of logic and emotion together is so important, because I argue that morals, or like ideals of like compassion and things like that, is a very emotional thing.
Yeah.
Ethics, which is like something that's ethical, and that's very logical. And what I try to do is I try to have those two things meet, where my logic and my feelings don't conflict.
Sounds like pure wizardry, mate.
It's hard. It's a hard thing to do. The hardest part is living it that way.
Yeah.
Living by both your ethics and your morals.
Yeah. I mean, it's what everyone likes to think that they do.
It's
I mean, most people like to think that they do that. I think that's part of the problem, isn't it? Is that people convince themselves of all of themselves, which is a blessing and a curse. Like, I would love to have the self-confidence and belief in myself to think that I was always fucking right.
How I always put it, depending on how you want to take this, I'm gonna go a few different things. You believe in your own bullshit. You drink your own Kool-Aid. You smoke from your own stash.
Yeah.
Basically, you do all the things, and and the problem is that I do think it's important to have people who can call you out on your own on that stuff. But really, you have to be your own. You have to be your own warden.
Yeah.
And that's a hard. Again, that's another very hard thing to do.
But I feel like, I know you're much the same as being at the other end of the spectrum, where you are obviously your own worst critic, but when you're a particularly harsh critic of yourself, like, that can also be equally as counterproductive. Like, and that's that's at the end of the scale that I know I'm at, where I'm just sort of like, I'm too hard sometimes, where it's like I won't allow myself, like, that's what I said when it comes to writing. Like, my biggest problem is sitting down and then overthinking it. Like, no, you're shit. That's not shit. Don't even. Why would you even let anyone hear that? Like, that's why I've got so many songs written down, but they've never actually been turned into songs, for the sheer fact that I just convinced myself that it's bullshit. And that is counterproductive to what I need to achieve, because I know I'm capable of doing it when I do it. I am just stood in my own way. I am building a brick wall against myself. So, yeah.
Yeah, well, I can tell you the same advice that I tell myself when I do these podcasts or when I do anything else.
Just do it.
Well, no, there's something else that you have to remember. It's not up to you if what you do is bad. What I mean by that is, like, when it comes to creative works, when it comes to stuff like this, the point of putting something out there is because you want other people to hear it. You have to take the criticism, you have to take what would come from it, but how do you know what your stuff is bullshit until somebody else hears it?
Yeah.
That is the ultimate problem that people always forget. And again, it's not just that you're building a wall, you're literally building a wall of fear of what? Rejection?
Yeah, probably.
You're telling me that you have not had a lifetime of rejection in your life.
All right, fucking hell, back off.
I'm just saying. Not everyone likes you. Not everyone's gonna like you. Not everyone thinks.
I mean, facts.
Some people pretend to like you, and that's the whole point. If you don't put it out there, thinking, like, you don't put stuff out there thinking everyone's gonna love this. You don't. That's because you're defeating the purpose. You're doing it because you like to fucking do the thing, and who gives a fuck if people hate it?
Yeah.
Because again, you're always gonna have. Again, one of the things, we always focus on the negative. We always focus on the fear of rejection. But if you meet that one person that just loves your work unapologetically, isn't it worth it? What if it helps that person? Again, those are the risks you take.
Yeah.
I mean, think about what I do. What I do is horrifying. I go out there, I meet people, I try to help them, I befriend them, I tell them about my life and all the negative things. Like, everything I do could go horribly wrong.
Yeah, fair.
And you think you're a ball of anxiety.
Yeah. Well, I know I'm a ball of anxiety. Well, I'm not so much anymore. I was, like, 6 months ago, I was a ball of anxiety, but I'm not so much anymore. But that's because I have been exercising a sort of mind over matter sort of philosophy with things. Like, just that I am stronger than whatever my mind tries to conceive for me, because at the end of the day, it's conceived by my own mind. And, like, when you start doing the equations on mapping it out, going like, well, hang on, if I've created this myself, then I can destroy it myself. So, like, and that has been quite powerful. But again, that all comes down to the self-reflection side of things, where I'm sat there going like, well, why am I feeling like this? Like, why am I anxious? Why am I fucking beside myself, like, having panic attacks about stupid things, about having interactions with human beings, which I have been doing for the last 33 years, and I've been doing absolutely fine with it. Why am I all of a sudden having a problem with it now? And taking myself out of myself, that's been a whole journey, and I'm still on it, doing the mind over matter thing, and having to talk myself out of bad situations. But again, yeah, it's a spectrum, isn't it? You've just got to make sure that you're not pendulum swinging from one end to the other, or just living at one end. You've got to find a middle ground on it.
Yeah, and honestly, that's the best way to for me, I have found that's the best way to live, because I have the moments of laughing and fun and all that stuff like that, and I have the moments of being serious. But the thing is that I live authentically. I legitimately enjoy things. I stop being ironic about certain things. And again, that's the hardest part to get to, is getting to where you actually are living life.
Yeah.
And like I said, the biggest thing is, you will always talk yourself out of doing something. That's why just doing it is like what I tell people, is just do it. No matter how much it sucks, because again, you're going to try to talk yourself out of it, and you're just going to hit that button anyways. You're going to hit that record button. You're going to do it over and over again. You are going to hate everything you do.
Oh yeah.
But once it's out there, it's out there.
Yeah. No putting it back in the can now.
Oh, I mean, you did well. I'm gonna I'm probably, with you being my co-host, I'm probably gonna be even harder on you, because you can come in here and talk live, and people are gonna, but you can't do a song, really.
Yeah.
You can't. Here, this is an hour. This is an hour. This is an hour, 2 hours of talking. And yes, I know it's not as much prep.
Yeah.
But I'm going to tell you now, you're going to probably say more things here than you are in a song. That's going to get you in trouble.
Yeah, well, it's not that it's going to get me in trouble. It's just that it's making it coherent and making it not sound like absolute cheese, which is my forte. Like, I specialize in cheese. I'm a connoisseur of cheese. I can eat cheese like a boss, but I can also write cheese like a master. So, and that's it. That's always been my biggest self-judgment, is I want to make music and I want to be taken seriously. And then I write a song and I'm like, this is just pop. This is pop music. I've written pop music again. How did I do this?
Embrace it. Embrace it. Embrace the cheese. I think you'll write better music if you just embrace who you are, instead of trying to like I want to be taken seriously. Okay, well, again, if you write this music and you like what it actually says, even if it is pop and cheese, if that's what's holding you back.
Yeah, it's a stupid thing to have hold me back, isn't it? The world is a huge place. Like, people are into all sorts of crazy stuff. Like, there might be someone crazy enough to like my music, and I already know that there are a couple out there. So, like, shout out to the fam. But yeah, yeah, okay, yeah, all right. Tough love time. Fucking, I hear ya. That felt like an ass kicking.
Welcome to the spoken word, where Raz is always going to be this way.
Yay!
That's okay. That's okay. As soon as I have Happy here and Ash, it's all going to be picking on Raz time. So you're hurt, So I will get back everything I
I can tell you now, I'm really looking forward to that. Like, I'm gonna take the power back. Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, but like I said, I fall into my own traps and everything like that. Like, what I'm saying is, like, I'm just being honest with you on these things, but I fail at stuff like this all the time too. And sometimes you need people to tell you the truth. But the biggest thing is that I agree, you already know what's going on, you already know what the issue is, and I just don't see why you don't embrace it.
Yeah, it was something that I said to you quite a while ago, was when you'd after you'd done Savage's podcast, and you said the thing that winds you up, the thing that really irritates you is people that know exactly what their problem is but don't do anything about it. And I was like, oh yeah, I'm one of those people. I'm probably gonna irritate the fuck out of you because I am 100% that person. I know exactly what my problems are, but I am working on like not procrastinating and being like, yeah, I'll totally do that tomorrow. It's going to take a lot of work for me because it's an art for me to put things off until tomorrow. Like manana, like it's in my soul, I swear. But I am trying to carve it out and start being more like, I need to do this. I'm going to get up and do it instead of just being like, yeah, I'll do it later. Because that's a battle in itself. And that is the one thing where it's like, yeah, I'll totally listen to what you say and I'll do it tomorrow. So yeah, which I mean, at this point, I don't really have any choice because it is actually bedtime. So
Yeah.
I don't think my neighbours would be particularly happy with me suddenly busting out my guitar now and being like, no, now is the time to jam, everybody. Like, let me channel my inner prince, the artist formerly known as Boytits, like, and go full whack. But I don't think that's going to happen right at this moment in time. But I will. I am, and yeah, I am. The other thing I need to do is just get on to recording as well. Like, I want to be doing it more. I want to get back to playing music more because I've taken such a big break with it. So it's these are my things. So next time we do this, I imagine you're going to be like, so what have you done? Let's see. Have you done your homework?
Oh, see, you told me something, and this is the worst part. Never tell me something that you know you want to change, because what I'm going to tell everybody now, everyone who knows you, who watches this podcast, just every day, ask her, is tomorrow today? Every day.
Touche, sir.
Oh, I do this to everyone. I do this to myself. Like, if I, like, are you procrastinating? Yes. The worst part is I'll just be like, yes. But I'm going to continue procrastinating. Like, I'm way too hard-headed. This is the problem people have is, like, trying to reverse psychology of this shit against me does not work because I know all the tricks of the trade, and if I don't want to do something, I'm not going to fucking do it.
Yeah.
But would you want to? But let's say if I want to do something and I get caught up in my own bullshit, Ashley kicks my ass. People, I expect that you're going to kick my ass until I fucking do it.
Yeah.
And I think that's also part of being a good friend is, again, people are always scared of being around others who are willing, they don't always want the truth and stuff like that. But for me, like, if I'm your friend, why would I let you sit there in suffering? If I actually care about you. And what I mean by that is not suffering in the way of, because I think all of us suffer, and I don't think that it in itself is a negative that we can learn, as long as we're struggling and working towards it and doing that stuff. My point is, why are we letting people who we see suffer in vain?
Yeah.
What is the because I have a question for you. You love all the music and stuff like that. You write all this music, you look at it, you don't do it. What does it actually provide you?
Well, nothing. It doesn't turn into anything. Because it just remains like an idea that sort of like sprouted and I caught. It's like having a little butterfly catcher and just catching it as it goes and then slapping it on the page and then closing the book on it. It's almost, if anything, like I'm just treating it like a diary at this point in time. Like, they're thoughts that I'm catching and putting away so that I don't have to think about them anymore, which is just an external repression, I guess.
Okay,
memory repression.
So obviously you need to go back to the first song that you wrote that's in your thing. Yeah. Probably do a little bit of editing on the writing, fix some things that you need. Maybe, just maybe show it to somebody and then record it.
Yeah.
Like I know it's music. You're going to be recording it a bunch of times. I know it's a lot of hard work. But maybe that's what you need for your own therapy. Maybe that's what you need for your own self stuff is because again, until you get that first thing out, and I beat it. Go back to the first one because it's an incomplete work. You have
Yeah.
all these incomplete works, and maybe it'll help. Maybe it don't. I don't know that answer, but I'm going to guess if you actually put the hard work and actually put out that feeling, because obviously you have some real connection to it because you hadn't throw it out.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
And again, no matter how bad it is, put it out anyways. You can't get good at something until you're bad at something.
Yeah. Oh, you're not wrong. And I used to be terrible as well. I've come a long way from where I was when I was writing songs when I was 14. Oh,
Yeah.
I'm sure that diary still exists somewhere around. I dread to look at it. I mean, like, I'm sure it sounds like pure Taylor Swift.
Probably. But even if anything else, even if you don't complete any of the works in there, one of the things that I've done, like I've been really rethinking of getting back into writing. Before I started doing this podcasting stuff, this is pretty much. I don't think being a writer is my thing, but that might change. That might change for me as we. Like I might get back into writing. You know, but like it's amazing if you go back, even if like most of the stuff is crap, you're gonna find that one song that if you just make some tweaks, might be amazing. Like I think you should go back to the diary. If anything else, go back and see what you did before. See if you get some inspiration or find something that and then write what matters to you. Isn't that what if you said you wanted to be taken seriously, right? Well,
I know.
If you write cheesy things and those are what matter to you, I'm sorry.
It's amazing though. It's amazing though how easy it is to articulate your thoughts when you're just talking about it. And the moment you try and put that into a rhyme structure, your brain just goes, no. No, it's one of those where it's like, I know I've got all the skills to do this, and my brain just sort of shorts out. But it's I think actually implementing just start by doing a bit every day. Yeah. Like, and then over time building it up and getting it to the point where I am, writing whole verses or hooks quite easily, regardless of whether or not it turns into something, just so that I'm getting into the habit of writing and then build the practice up. But right, Raz, I am unfortunately going to have to start cutting this off because it is 11 o'clock and my other half Alex needs to go to bed in the morning, go to work in the morning, so I can't really keep him up much later. No. 5.
No, that is perfectly fine. I think this is a good stopping point. We got just a little over an hour. Plus, we had 10 minutes where I wasn't talking because of technical difficulties. But honestly, I think.
Sorry, I do think there should be, like, if only we could just put up a screen with a little bit of lift music and the technical difficulties flashing across the screen. Would be very apt.
As we go, we will be upgrading everything in this. This is just the bare bones. This is grassroots. I have a $400 setup.
Yeah.
Like.
And I have a mobile phone, so between the two of us, we're doing great.
Yeah. Well, but again, with a little work and elbow grease and everything like that, I think this thing could be awesome.
Yeah, well, I think it's gone a lot smoother than I was expecting it to. Hey, go team!
Well, I think that's like I live my life on that. Like, oh yeah, everything's going to go terribly wrong, and so it doesn't. It's awesome. Like again, you set your standards, you set your expectations low enough.
This is what all my motto for life has been: if you set your expectations really, really low, you can only ever be pleasantly surprised.
But the rule is, but here's the thing: you set your expectations low, but your standards high. That's what people forget. If you just set your standards and your expectations low, then you're not going to achieve anything.
You and your witchcraft and wizardry again. Like, I don't even know what you're talking about.
Fair enough. Anyways, you do have to go, so I guess we're gonna sign out.
Yeah.
All right. Well, thank you for joining us on the Spoken Word with Raz. This is Raz signing out. Say bye, Morgan.
Bye, fam. Bye.
You all have a wonderful night or day. Anyways, later.
Later.